I'm going out, I gotta go. I'll bang a rang on the radio, so turn it up, I'm telling you, I think I'm ready for something new. Hey, hello.
Hi, I'm Noelle, the host of Pop Punk and Pizza, and today I'm joined by Maggot House for a special Halloween episode, and I'm super excited. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm very excited for Halloween, as you can see.
Yeah,
Got
that's
my
awesome.
little decorations. So your music has a lot of different horror themes, and Halloween is right around the corner. So that's why I thought it'd be a good idea to do the interview at around this time. So we're going to be talking about our top five horror themed punk or pop punk songs ranked from least to most favorite. And then I'll be asking you questions in between. So this was pretty difficult for me to do because I feel like a lot of the songs that I listen to are like horror themed in some way. So it's hard for me to choose favorites. But we can start with mine and then you can talk about your number five on your list.
Okay, great.
So number five on my list is Baby You're a Haunted House by Gerard Way. So in the music video, that's like what I always think of when I listen to this song because it's like it's a good music video. It's very simple, but basically in the beginning, there's this guy and he's wearing like a skeleton mask and he's got like a suit on and he's just like saying gibberish. And like the subtitles at the bottom are like in Russian, so you can't tell what he's saying. And then like it goes into the song and like the band members behind Gerard are like wearing uh skeleton costumes with suits and basically they're just playing the song. But um it was funny because I was looking at the comments on the video on YouTube and people were like speculating who was in the skeleton costumes and they were thinking it was like members of MCR. And like one person was saying something like it's so funny that people are thinking that it has to be some of the members of MCR, like as if he couldn't make any new friends. I just thought that was funny. But yeah, that's my little blurb on that song and what I like about it.
Very
So
cool.
tell us what your number five on your list is.
I had a lot of time to like look through Halloween songs, and I was having a lot of trouble narrowing it down to five. But there's a song called "This Building Sucks" for a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah,
It's by the Shrink Rap Killers, and
yeah.
that band's so fun. Like they're like a synth punk band, and they get really dressed up in costume, usually wearing all black and leather, and
Okay.
yeah, and they like wear masks. Like sometimes it's just like a something pulled over their head, or like sometimes they have like face masks on, like medical face masks and stuff. But
Yeah.
it's really a fun song, and just the title alone, it's just like, oh, this is going to be awesome, right? But
Yeah. I
yeah, I
like the
really
title. Yeah. I've never actually heard of that band before, but I listened to that song because you sent it to me beforehand and I really like it. Actually, I really like all the songs that you picked.
oh,
So
cool.
yeah. So you're a solo act, so you play everything in your songs, right?
Yeah, so I play guitar. I have a jazz master and a Squire. I have a lot of pedals.
Okay.
I have a little like 80s Casio keyboard. It's all beat up, but
Yeah.
I use that for the synth, and the drums I program. I have that on a pad and play everything like with my fingers. So
Okay, cool.
yeah,
So it's not like a drum machine, it's more like on your computer.
it's yeah, like I sample drum beats and then I can play them on the pad. So it's a
Okay.
little of both, I guess. It's drum samples, but
Yeah.
this thing all started in 2020 during COVID, and I had nowhere to go and nothing to do, and I grew up on like Misfits and Spits, like listen to them, and I always wanted to be in like a punk band like that. So I was like, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna do it.
Yeah. That's cool. So what is the first instrument that you learned to play?
Definitely guitar. I
Okay.
went to college and always had a guitar nearby, and we had like a drum kit in the dining room. There
Yeah.
were roommates that lived there, So yeah, we were always just messing around and making music back then. But I learned how to play guitar first.
Cool. And so your first project was called Slobs, right? I mean, I know you've been in a lot of other bands before that, but was that like kind of your first like solo project?
So Slavs was with me and my buddy Hodges, and
Okay.
he's in Philly, and we were trying to do something remote, like that we could send back and forth over to each other.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was the first time I started writing music. And actually, there's a Maggot House song called "Subterranean Scum" that was a slob song for a while, and then I was like, I'm
Okay.
taking this, so I took it and used it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And is Maggot House named after a venue you grew up going to?
That was actually the house when we all lived in together in college, where all the
Oh, okay.
yeah, like when we moved in, we were like, we got to come up with a name for the house, and that's what we called it. So
Cool.
there's a single. I wrote a song about it. The single is called Maggot House,
Yeah.
and the artwork on that is all things that happened at that house, which was pretty wild.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty wild time.
Cool. And number four on my list was Calling All Skeletons by Alkaline Trio. And basically my story about this is I saw them at Riot Fest. They opened for MCR. Basically, almost all the songs on my list has to do with MCR. But yeah, so at that point at Riot Fest, I was like really exhausted and like because Taking Back Sunday had played before them, and for some reason the crowd was like insane. So like everyone was like pushing and like it was just a mess. And so I was like exhausted at that point. I was like sweating and I was just like chilling out by um like kind of like this side barrier. And like I felt like I would have been more into Alkaline Trio's set if I wasn't so exhausted by that point because they were really good. But I was just like, I'm just so tired at this point. But afterwards I started listening to them and I really liked them. And like this was the one song I think I recognized that they played at Riot Fest that I heard before that. Um, and then after Riot Fest, I just like had it on repeat like for a really long time. So yeah. What was number four on your list?
Number four for me is the Spits. I lived in San Francisco for about 10 years before I came out here to New York, and they used to come down on tour a lot. And I got to
Yeah.
see them on like the first tour they ever did, and it was just
Oh,
amazing.
cool.
They're like absolutely one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of creepy songs, and I picked
Hmm.
Worms for number four.
Yeah.
It's just like the whole idea of worms crawling inside of your body is pretty freaky. So
Yeah, it's pretty gross. Yeah, I listened to that song too, and like the distortion sounds so heavy, it's almost like it kind of sounds like a video game in a way, like
oh
an
yeah.
old video game. And I think that's cool. And you have a new album out now called How to Talk to Extraterrestrials. Can you talk about the inspirations that went into writing that album?
Oh sure. So yeah, definitely horror movies. I just started like thinking about moving back to California recently, and
Oh, really?
um, yeah, and I think that's going to happen maybe in a couple of years. But I started thinking about aliens for some reason. I realized that I really have this association of California and like
Yeah.
empty highways in the middle of nowhere with
Mhm.
aliens, and I just started like playing around, listening to a lot of garage rock, and that's kind of what I was trying to get it to sound like. But yeah, that was the inspo, like for that title song, "California Grace," was definitely
Cool.
California spooky.
Yeah, that's cool. Uh, and number three on my list was Blood Infections by Frank Iero and the Celebration. Frank is from FCR. He's the guitarist and or one of the guitarists. And this is from his album Stomach Aches. And this was like his first solo project. And so the meaning of the song is, well, at least from what I've heard him like saying in interviews, is basically it's talking about like comparing being in a band and being on tour to like being a vampire and like people trying to sell you drugs is like They're like the vampires trying to like suck the life out of you, I guess. So it has some cool lyrics, and that's why I really like it. And
That's great. Is that like an energy vampire
yeah,
sucking
yeah,
the life out of you?
kind of like that. Yeah. So I think it's a really cool song. And what was your number three? This is number three,
Number
right?
three,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. I went with Jay Reatard, Blood Visions. And when that record came out, that was like the most disgusting album cover I've ever seen, where Jay standing there covered
Yeah.
in blood.
He's like covered in blood.
Yeah. And he's another guy who does like solo work. I saw him on tour a couple times and it was
Oh,
fantastic. But
really?
yeah, but he writes everything himself and plays all the instruments himself, so that's really inspiring to me. But yeah, that song is
Cool.
just crazy good.
Yeah. Um, that song like almost sounds a little bit like the Strokes to me in a way.
Oh,
And
cool.
like some other band that I can't think of, but it like reminds me of something and I like it. So your music is inspired by the Misfits and the Spits, like you mentioned, and apparently you're also on the Spits Wikipedia page. Can you talk about how you got on there?
So that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I think it's just actually I think I know when it happened. I can't confirm, but I used to see the Spits play at all the shows in San Francisco, and there was a show at the Parkside with two E's, and it was like super small venue, and there's a guy that was trying to interview them at the merch table after the show.
Mhm.
And during the show, I was like screaming every word and like trying to like just get into the show.
Yeah.
And I remember that guy asking me what my name was, and I told him Bruce with two O's, like Bruce, like loose.
Yeah.
And then maybe about a year later, I saw my name on the wiki, and I think it got added by that guy. I think that like that's when their wiki page was created, and it got
Yeah.
added. And then soon after, every time I saw the Spits, Aaron or Sean would be like, "Did you do that? Like, where'd your name come from?" And they'd be like, "You
Yeah.
did that. You did that." And I'm like, "No, I totally did not do that."
That's so funny. Yeah, that's probably how it got on there.
It's pretty insane.
Yeah, that's cool. So the number two song on my list is Dig Up Her Bones by Misfits. This so like when did your love for those bands, the Spits and the Misfits, kind of begin?
Misfits, I definitely got into high school. Probably like my freshman and sophomore year, and I moved to a new town. And I like the first day I met this little skater group of kids that they were
Mhm.
the first ones to embrace me. And I had long hair at the time, and so
Yeah.
did this other kid. And he was like, "You got to check this out. You got to check this out." He gave me everything from Bad Brains to the
Oh, cool.
Misfits. Yeah, like every tape he had, I would borrow it, and that was it. And then once I heard the lyrics for the Misfits, I just couldn't stop listening to it. I was just like, "Yes, this is
Yeah.
this is it."
They're definitely one of my favorite bands. I have a Misfits hoodie on right now. I don't know if
Oh,
you can
awesome.
see it, but yeah. Um, so I love Dig Up Her Bones. I know it's like it's not Danzig, but I really love it though. It's like I had it on replay for a while, and I used to work at my college radio station, and I would play that song on there a lot as like because I was a DJ. So yeah.
That's
And
a good
what,
one. I think Michael
yeah,
Graves is a good singer too.
yeah, he is a good singer.
I definitely I love Glenn Danzig. Like I,
Yeah.
I don't like the cat litter jokes. I don't like the Danzig memes. Like I'm like such a huge fan. It kind of I'm like, okay, don't do that.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, well, we won't get into the memes, don't worry. So what was your number two song?
So I love Rocket from the Crypt. I love a lot of SoCal bands. Like Adolescents and Descendants and all those bands from like LA area, but down in San Diego, John Reese is like king down there, and I love everything that he's ever done, basically. But he has a
Yeah.
song called "I Drink Blood" from Rocket from the Crypt, and it's just the creepiest thing you've ever heard. The guitar's creepy, the keyboards are creepy, his screams
Mhm.
are creepy. The whole thing is awesome.
Yeah. I think I also saw them at Riot Fest. It was like at the point where it was last year, and I was in line to get food or something, and I never actually ended up getting the food because the line was so long. But I remember I was like standing in line, and like the stage was like right in front of me, so I was like filming them. So they were good.
I
And
got a John Reese story actually.
oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, I saw them play the Great American Music Hall in like the 90s. I can't remember, but
Mhm.
that's in San Francisco. And I heard that they were going to go down to this bar, the Hemlock, after the show.
Yeah,
So I went over there and I was like such a fanboy. I was like, I'm gonna go and hang out with John Reese. And I
yeah.
ended up going to the bar and um, I finally found him at the bar and I got to talk to him, which is awesome. He's such a cool
Oh,
guy.
cool.
And then I was offered to buy him a drink and he's like, yeah, go ahead. And and I didn't have any money. And I was like digging in
Yeah.
my wallet. I was like, oh
Oh
my God, I
no.
don't have any money. And it was such the like sour ending. I was like, oh my God, dude, I don't have any money. I'll be back. And I never found him again. But
Oh no.
that's the one time I met John Reese.
Well, at least you met him. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And I saw that you said your favorite movie was The Ritual, which I've never actually seen, but can you tell me why it's your favorite without spoiling anything?
Oh, it's unsuspected, unexpected. It's one of those movies that like the beginning is totally different from the end, and there's a
Okay.
twist, and it was like I did not know what the movie was about before I watched it. I just heard
Yeah.
someone mention it, and I was like, oh, that movie. I didn't
Yeah.
look up anything, and I think that's the best way to watch it because then you're like, what in the world's going
Cool.
on?
I have to watch it now, now that you recommended it. Is it like a newer movie or an older movie?
2014, I think.
Okay,
I remember that when I was looking it up. Yeah.
cool. So you're from Brooklyn, New York, right?
Not born and raised, but I've been here for
Okay,
since 2010, so just over 10 years.
cool. So do you like New York pizza or Chicago style pizza better?
Uh, I gotta say I like New York pizza better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't really like deep dish pizza, honestly. Like it's just like too much chewing.
that's true.
But I mean I like all kind of pizza, but yeah, deep dish is like not really my favorite. So I understand.
I like how big it is. You got to fold it and like drop some of the grease off of it. Like it's just a whole thing here.
Yeah. So like what's your favorite kind of pizza?
Oh, should I name names here? So
Sure.
I live in an apartment building and there's a pizza place on the first floor called Brothers Pizza in Brooklyn. And it's awesome. I'll just call the guy and he'll be like, yeah, yeah, give me 10 minutes. And like he just does it so fast. I just go down and pick up a pie. Oh,
Oh,
yeah. In New York, it's not a pizza, it's a pie. So
yeah.
yeah. So that's cool. I actually like the bodega shops, like the little
Mhm.
places with pizza more than any like big name pizza place.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's cool. And do you have any plans for like live shows?
I grew up in Ohio. That's where I came from. And
Hmm.
there's some band members back home who are asking me if I wanted to come home and play a show. And my friend Kevin was like, I've already learned all the bass lines. Just come out and we'll play.
Yeah.
I don't really have any plans right now to do anything live. In fact, I thought next year I was going to write a record or an EP called Too Old to Tour, just as a
Yeah.
joke. But yeah, I don't have any plans right now, but it's possible something could pan out.
Cool. Well, I look forward to seeing you play live if you ever do.
Oh, awesome.
And my number one favorite horror slash spooky theme song is I've been like cheating a lot with these songs. I've been picking like bands that are technically different bands, but they're kind of like the same people. So Vampires Will Never Hurt You by MCR. Um, this was hard to choose because My Chemical Romance has a lot of spooky songs to choose from. But this is from their first album, I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love. And that one is like, it might be the most horror influenced album of theirs, maybe. Um, it's like it's like very raw and like aggressive, and I love it so much. And there's a lot of good screaming in that song. And so I really like it. So what was your number one song?
For my number one, I did Blood Feast by the Misfits. I figured you got to have the Misfits on the list,
Yes.
whether you're a great fan or not. Like it's just
Yeah,
mandatory
they're
for
just essential.
yeah. But Blood Feast is super creepy sounding song. I think it was
Yeah.
on like the album that might even be considered a hardcore punk record. But
Yeah, Earth AD.
yeah, but that song, it sounds almost like the experimental stuff they were doing with Sam Hain, which I also love.
Mhm.
But it's just like a really really weird vibe. I love that song.
Yeah, that whole album is like that might be my favorite Misfits album. I also really like their first one, Walk Among Us, but like Earth AD, it's like more hardcore.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I really like it. It's cool. Um, so now let's list our honorable mentions.
Oh, okay.
Because we picked some other songs too, besides our top fives. And we're gonna add these songs to a playlist later so people watching this can check it out, and listen to all the songs that we mentioned in this interview. So my honorable mentions were Die Die My Darling by Misfits, also
Awesome.
Horror Business, and Halloween, because obviously it's just essential. And I picked a few Voodoo Church songs. I don't know if you've ever heard of that band.
No.
Most people haven't. They're kind of like underground. I don't even think they're a band anymore. I think they only had like 3 albums, but they're kind of like goth rock, kind of horror punk mixture. And I really like the songs Darker My Love, Piece of Hell, Live with the Dead. And yeah, those are really good ones. And then Sweet Vampires by Alkaline Trio. It was between, like, when I was choosing Alkaline Trio songs, it was between Sweet Vampires and Calling All Skeletons, which I chose. And this song is A Curse by Frank Iero. That was actually on the soundtrack for the Tim Burton movie Frankenweenie,
Oh, really?
the animated one. Yeah. And I feel like it was so perfect for him because like he loves dogs, and the movie is like about a dog that gets resurrected. So, and it also his name is Frank, like Frankenstein, and he loves horror movies. So I feel like it was perfect for him to be on the soundtrack. And yeah, those are all my honorable mentions. Did you want to mention any other ones that you
Yeah,
chose?
sure. My other list was kind of the old school punk where I started, the stuff
Mhm.
that got me into punk in high school. But my number five was Mr. Freeze by Dr. No. And it's a really creepy sounding song, but the lyrics
Yeah,
themselves, you really got to read the lyrics, and it's just messed up.
yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slayer actually covered that song.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was on their like Undisputed Attitude album where they had like covered a bunch of songs.
Yeah,
So
that's a great little album they did. Everything on there
yeah,
is
yeah,
awesome.
it is. I have that on CD. It's
Oh,
really
that's
good.
cool.
Yeah.
My
Um,
number four on that list was I Saw Your Mommy and Your Mommy's Dad
oh
by
yeah.
Suicidal. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is so messed up too, like the lyrics.
I've been listening to, I probably listened to it 12 times since we started talking about this. And
Really?
there's a line where he says something about, but dress her up nice and give her a kiss at the funeral. I forget what the
Yeah.
lyrics are, but it's just such a messed up song.
Yeah, it's like, what made you hate this person's mom so much? Like, geez. But yeah, I really liked all your picks, so I'm gonna have to listen to them more now. uh, but anything else you'd like to plug or mention before we go, like your social media or anything like that? Anything coming out
I mean,
soon?
yeah, just look up Maggot House and give us a shout. I think, you'll dig it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. This was really fun.
Yeah, it was. I'm super stoked that we did this. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, of course. and I will be adding all those songs to a Spotify playlist, like I said, possibly also on like YouTube Music and like other music streaming things so other
Oh,
people can listen to it.
maybe you can put a Maggot House song on that playlist.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll be adding more. So, yeah, thank you so much. This is really fun.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza.